Germany shocks the liberal European establishment as the so-called far-right AfD party nearly doubles their support. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot professor, here to give you a front row seat on the rise of civilizational populism all over the world, so make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Germans went to the polls yesterday in their national parliamentary election, collapsing their leftist government and giving their Patriot Party, the Alternative for Germany, their biggest results ever. Here are the final tallies. The center-right CDU, that's the Christian Democratic Union, they're basically the rhino wing of the Republican Party in Germany, the milquetoast conservatives. They came in first with just over 28% of the vote. That's actually the second worst election ever for the CDU. Since World War II, the CDU has been Germany's single most popular party. The three longest-serving post-war chancellors have all come from the CDU, but they did win, albeit with one of their worst performances. Then in second place, the Patriot Party, the AfD, the Alternative for Deutschland. They got their best showing ever with 21% of the vote. I predicted 22%, so I'm very happy with that result. They basically doubled their support from back when they first broke into the German parliament back in 2017. The left-wing SPD, these are the Social Democrats. They were the ruling party before this election. They collapsed. They collapsed with just 16% support, and the Greens, who were part of their coalition, fell to just 11%. Now, a lot of people are actually dooming this election, highlighting how basically 80% of German voters voted for the establishment status quo. 80% of German voters voted against the true alternative to that German political establishment. And I get it. And if the AfD had performed about the same or worse than they did when they first entered the German parliament back in 2017, I'd be blackpilling this election as well. But politics and political change is about trends. And the trends that we're seeing here are clearly moving decisively in the direction of the AfD. There are, without question, there are some impediments and obstacles, both from within Germany and from without. We'll talk about that in a mere moment. But what's happening around the world, the astonishing rise of what scholars call civilizational populism, is alive and well and thriving in Germany. First and foremost, if you don't know, the AfD, the Alternative for Deutschland, this is Germany's MAGA party. This is their Patriot Party. This is the party that has basically been tacitly endorsed by the Trump White House. When J.D. Vance was in Munich on Valentine's Day, he met with Alice Weidel, the leader of the AfD, and he completely snubbed their outgoing Chancellor Olaf Scholz. So J.D. snubbed the Chancellor of Germany in favor of meeting with who he and Trump believe to be the future of Germany, and that's the AfD leadership. And of course, that meeting came on the heels of Elon Musk speaking via telecast at the AfD's national conference, giving his full endorsement of the AfD and tweeting out numerous times, only the AfD could save Germany. Well, as of yesterday's elections, more Germans than ever agree with both JD and Elon. So to me, this is the most important takeaway from what happened yesterday. The AfD is now officially the second largest political party in the entire nation. Now, keep in mind, the AfD is a very young party. As I mentioned, they're only 11 years old. I mentioned that they first entered the Bundestag, the German parliament, back in 2017. And back then, they really shocked the world because they came from nowhere to get 13% of the vote. As of yesterday, they basically doubled that support with 21% of the vote, even although the entire German political system, including their media, have been trying to do everything they possibly can to marginalize them and keep them in the political periphery. So this is huge. Passing that 20% mark is gigantic in a multi-party system. And the AfD are now officially one of the top two major political parties in Germany. That is a victory in and of itself. They are no longer peripheral. They are no longer marginal. They are major, even more so than the Social Democrats, the SPD. The SPD, the center-left party, traditionally was always the second most popular party in Germany. They've been replaced. They've collapsed to third place. They're now where the AfD was in 2017. Let that hit you. The SPD won their last national election a couple of years back, but their leader, Olaf Scholz, has been an unmitigated disaster. I mean, Scholz is basically Germany's Biden. I mean, to call him a catastrophe would be an insult to catastrophes. He's gone. He's no longer chancellor, and his party's in ruins. Now, take a look at this map. If you want to understand the state of German politics right now and German political sentiment among their electorate, these are the results from yesterday. The AfD won the regions in blue. The CDU won the regions in black. The AfD now owns the whole of Eastern Germany. Look at that. I guess they're for the exception of Berlin, but I got word yesterday from Konstantin von Hofmeister that it looks like 1 out of every 2 voters in the region of Saxony voted for the AfD. 1 out of every 2. So as far as East Germany is concerned, they are all in with the AfD. The AfD is posting numbers that the CDU used to get. So this is why I think it's very important not to blackpill or doom on this election. A major part of Germany is now overwhelmingly on the side of the AfD, as well as Trump and Vance and Musk. They're getting upwards of 50% in a multi-party system. Now, where we can, at least for the moment, blackpill is Western Germany. Western Germans appear hell-bent on sticking with the establishment no matter what. They are largely rejecting the AfD in favor of a status quo that represents an old liberal international order that just simply doesn't exist anymore. Now, at one level, I get it. Old habits are hard to break. And the pension generation, right, the older generation of Germans, in particular, Europeans in general, they bought into this liberal international order. Let's just be blunt about it. In many respects, after World War II, Europe and Germany were basically ground zero for the liberal international order. A world order where nationalisms would be replaced with globalist institutions like the IMF and the WTO and the World Bank, where national sovereignties would be replaced with a one-size-fits-all centralized bureaucratic control from Brussels as per the 1997 Amsterdam Agreement, and security would be provided by an external actor, the United States, that to this day has 100,000 troops in Germany, Italy, Spain, the UK. And the promise was that by basically turning their collective backs on their own unique cultures, customs, and traditions in favor of this liberal international order, Europeans would be guaranteed unbridled prosperity and peace. That was the guarantee, the supposed guarantee. But what's been the result? Decades of economic stagnation, open border policies that have flooded the continent with migrants from the Middle East and Northern Africa that largely resist assimilation, skyrocketing crime, particularly violent crime, shocking gang rape scandals and cover-ups that rock the UK. Germany's post-war economy, once the wonder of the world, has been almost completely deindustrialized and wrecked. And then to add insult to injury, Europe is currently seeing its deadliest, most destructive war since World War II. So where is this guarantee of prosperity and peace? It's gone. And to make matters even worse, both Trump and Vance have declared the official end of the liberal international order. They're gutting that order right before our very eyes. They're declaring NATO old and obsolete. They're anti-EU. They want sovereignty return to the individual nation states of Europe. They basically rendered the IMF and the WTO irrelevant with bilateral trade deals and tariffs. The liberal international order is dead. And so what all of this means is that, ironically, while Western Germans are sort of stuck in their liberal past, Eastern Germans want to move forward. And they know that the way forward in a rising civilizationalist world is for Europe to return being European. Europe is for Europeans, and that is the way forward. Being mired in an old, stale, sterile, one-size-fits-all liberalism, stubbornly clinging to an international order that no longer exists, that is the very definition of regressive. And I think this is key to what to keep an eye on moving forward from this election. If they're not careful, if Western Germany doesn't get with the program of this new civilizationalist world that's rising, don't be surprised if Eastern Germans are going to eventually want to secede. Secession is a major part of this new world that's rising. Breakaway movements are a major part. There have been over 35 nations added to the map since 1991. And I don't think Eastern Germans, who are voting overwhelmingly for the AfD, I don't think they are going to much appreciate or continue to put up with not only the nonsense of all the cultural chaos that comes from Western Germans' entrenchment in an old, dying, and decaying political order. Not only that, but their deliberate and intentional, the establishment's deliberate and intentional ignoring and dismissing the express will of the Eastern German people. And this is because, if you don't know, the CDU, the Christian Democrat Union, the center-right party, which has, again, been consistently since World War II, post-war Germany, has been the largest party in Germany. And they're shrinking, of course, because the AfD is taking so much of their constituents. But the CDU has officially ruled out completely any possibility of coalitioning with the AfD, even though that's what the Germans voted for. The Germans basically voted for a center-right populist coalition. You saw that map. You saw that map. There are two colors, blue and black, right? Basically, those are your two colors, blue and black. What's the coalition they're looking for? A blue-black coalition, AfD, CDU. But no. The CDU is ignoring the express will of the German people, at least particularly the Eastern German people. Instead, the CDU is going to try, get this, they're going to try to create some kind of Frankenstein coalition with the political left. I mean, let that hit you. The center right, in an effort to continue to box the AfD out of power because they're the far right. They're so extreme, even though they're basically a libertarian party. The AfD wants to shrink government, not grow it. But they are so hell-bent on continuing this policy known as the firewall, from a policy that keeps the AfD out of political power. They're so hell-bent on that the CDU is now going to actually form a coalition with the very center-left party, the SPD, that was just voted out of power. Talk about a uniparty. You want to see a uniparty in action? There you have it. Different shades of the same underlying party. There it is. And even then, were they to form a coalition with the SPD, even then they still don't have a majority. So they'll probably have to include the Greens. The freaking Greens are only getting 11% support. They're more unpopular than ever. But that's exactly what this idiotic establishment firewall, as they call it, this intentional attempt to box the AfD out of power and intentionally ignore the will of Eastern Germans. That's the insanity that this firewall requires. So let me ask you, again, those of you who might be blackpilling here, how long do you think a Frankenstein coalition like that is going to last? I doubt very long. All it would take is for just one of the partners to quit the coalition and the government collapses. So again, remember, that's why we're all about long-term trends here. That kind of political disaster, gang, will not just be for this government. It will be for every single subsequent political coalition in Germany from this point going forward. Every single one, for as long as the establishment is committed to this firewall strategy of boxing out the AfD, which means that that kind of political dysfunctionality will only guarantee what? What's the ultimate guarantee of that kind of political dysfunctionality? The guarantee is the AfD will continue to grow and gain support. The AfD will continue to establish itself as the disestablishment, as the anti-establishment vote. All the while the establishment shows their uniparty bona fides by let that hit you. The CDU, the center-right, is more willing to work with the far-left Greens than they are with the populist right, AfD. So that's, I mean, it's just, it's dysfunctionality baked into the cake of this firewall strategy. That's why Alice Weidel, the leader of AfD, is saying that they're securely on their way to becoming the number one party in all of Germany. Number one. It's inevitable, given the kind of political dysfunctionality that's baked into the cake of this stupid firewall strategy that deliberately ignores the will, particularly of Eastern Germans. Eastern Germans voted for the AfD, and they're being told, shut up. No, you don't get them. How long are they going to stand for? Is that going to make the AfD less popular? So this is why I'm saying don't blackpill this election. It's all part of a process, albeit a painful process, by which Germany is slowly but surely working out how they're going to be part of a rising civilizationalist world. For nearly 70 years, Germans have been taught, they've been taught to hate their country, like we have. They've been taught to be embarrassed and penitent for their 20th century sins. And a lot of Germans, particularly in the western part of that country, I'm sorry, they bought into it. They bought into that national guilt. Now, if you haven't seen my interview from this weekend with Konstantin von Hofmeister, we posted on Saturday, talking about the upcoming elections and just really more these long-term trends. You've got to watch it. Konstantin's a brilliant geopolitical theorist. He lives in Germany, born and raised there, and his insights into how German culture is working out this extraordinary transition from a liberal international order to a rising civilizationalist order is fascinating. I definitely encourage you to watch the interview and get his very insightful observations on this process. But he's very optimistic about what's going on in Germany. Again, it's frustrating. There remain a lot of obstacles both inside and outside of Germany for sure. And the establishment can cause a lot of damage in the process, no question. But he recognizes that the overall trends, the political, economic, and cultural trends, are all moving in the direction of the AfD in this astonishing political realignment. And if what we just saw yesterday is any indicator, there is no sign that those trends are coming to an end anytime soon. By the way, click on the link in the description below to get all these articles and tweets I reference throughout my videos emailed to you each and every day. You're going to love it. We want you to have the best resources out there to convince your family and your friends of this new MAGA super age that's rising here. Hey there, Dr. Steve here, and I got a question for you. What if you could go back in time and get in on the Bitcoin era when it was still just under $1? Or buy a prime real estate before the market exploded, say, in Manhattan? Or invest in a company like Tesla before the whole world caught on? Well, that's exactly where we are right now. The parallel economy is exploding like never before. New financial opportunities are opening up, and those who see the shift and take action early are the ones who will prosper the most. That's why I'm hosting a live 90-minute event on February 27th called the America's Golden Age Summit. Now, I'll be joined by some amazing expert guests who are going to show you how to position yourself for massive success in this new era. But even better, what exactly to do in this new era. It's a truly one-of-a-kind, game-changing event. Click the link, grab your spot, and be a part of America's Golden Age Summit. Do not miss this chance to get ahead. I can't wait to see you there.